Om Vasudeva Sutam Devam Kansachanuramardanam Devaki Paramanandam Krishnam Vande Jagadgurum. In the 18th verse of chapter 4, we have a very puzzling statement by Lord Sri Krishna. Those who see inaction in action and action in action are indeed wise. They have as though done everything that they have ever had to do. Sa buddhiman manushyeshu sa krishna karma kritha yuktaha karmani akarmaya pashyet akarmani cha karmayaha. We saw the meaning of this, and in this class now we will see some elaboration that Bhagavan Bhāshyakara Sri Shankaracharya supplies. Karmani akarmaya pashyet. In the introductory paragraph itself, Shankaracharya explained what we regard as karma is mere vyapara. Various indriyas, mana, buddhi, etc. are active, and those who are identified with them would imagine a lot is happening. Those who are anchored in the pure self know nothing is happening at all. Karmani akarma yapashyet. So what meets the eyes need not be true. Then more difficult perhaps to understand is the second part. How do you say in akarma, in inaction, there is action? There also Adi Shankara makes a very important statement. Vastu aprapya eva. This part of Bhashya we saw last time. Vastu aprapya eva. Vastu here means the supreme truth. Without knowing the supreme truth, whoever imagines he or she has renounced, I am not into karma at all nowadays. I have left behind karma. I have graduated to some higher level of spirituality, etc. If one says, that very idea, I have renounced, makes you a karta. Vastu aprapya eva hi sarvaha eva kriya karakadi vyavahara avidya bhumau eva. It's all ignorance. But I have been in the Himalayas for 35 years now, someone may say. That very fact that you say, I have been here, I have spent 35 years here, ask the neighboring sadhus, ask these people, those people, that itself shows that you are so identified with you being a renunciant monk. Those who actually have renounced do not carry this abhimana. Abhimana, I have renounced, makes it karma. Though the whole town may say, this sadhu does not have any attachment, sits so quietly, he is not doing anything. But if you were to put a flashlight into his head, in his thoughts, there is a sense of, I have done something which hardly anyone on the earth can ever do. I am at the peak of renunciation. So this self-description makes it karma. Therefore, that first paragraph ended with Sri Shankaracharya saying, Kritsna karma krita samasta karma kritya isaha iti stuyate. Such a person, that is not the abhimani, but a jnani, who sees the distinction between karma and akarma, is praised here. Now, there are 8 more paragraphs, and probably it will be difficult to cover all of them in one class. We'll see 4 of them in this class. The second paragraph in Adi Shankara's commentary makes a very wonderful statement about Muda Drishti and Buddhiman. That is Jnani Drishti. It begins with an objection from Purva Pakshi, the imagined opponent. And that imagined opponent typically represents a lot of people in this world. Therefore, the commentator brings somebody, maybe fictitious person, but he is not as fictitious as you may imagine. He actually represents millions of people. What is the objection? Nanu kimidam viruddham uchyate. What is this contradictory stuff being talked of? Karmani akarma yapashe iti. Akarmani cha karma iti. This is all self-contradictory. How can you say this? It's like saying, oh, I went and entered a bright room which was utterly dark. What do you mean? Oh, I went and met my uncle. He was so fit and fine, but was ailing with several diseases. He's fit and fine, and you say he is ailing with diseases? What is all this? Viruddham uchyate. Nahi karma akarma syat. Karma cannot be akarma. Akarma va karma syat. Akarma cannot be karma. Don't confuse us, says the Purva Pakshi. Now, playing the role of the Siddhanti. Siddhanti is the champion of the right school. Purva Pakshi is a representative of any of the many wrong schools. Siddhanti patiently replies, no, please do not say this is self-contradictory. Akarma eva paramartataha sat karmavat avabhasate muda drishte lokasya. What is inaction? Paramartataha sat karmavat avabhasate. So, a muda drishti, someone who is deluded, would take what actually is useless, what actually is simply going from here to there and there to here, etc., which is therefore worthless, therefore inaction. He says, really, this is karma. Why? His attachments. I once saw in an ashram, the Guru said to his disciples, please carry this heavy cot from this hostel to that hostel. And 4 brahmacharis came and lifted that heavy cot. And there was one more brahmachari standing at a distance. They called him, come, you also help. He also joined. And all of them were carrying it. Their faces were showing how it was difficult. This man also put his hand onto that heavy cot, and he was also making a face. But the Guru came by, carefully observed, and then smiled. This 5th fellow who joined and put his hand over there really was pretending. He was not carrying the weight at all. He was not load-bearing at all, but he was pretending, simply touching the cot. So, in his case, what appeared to be action, if you take his pretending to be real, was actually inaction. I tell you, sorry to say this, lot of people who go about reforming this world, setting this world right, addressing injustice, etc., because of their spiritual ignorance, really are doing nothing. They are sometimes taking matters from bad to worse. Many times their apparent dynamism is nothing but an expression of their restlessness. They cannot sit quietly. Therefore, they go here, go there, they yell, they in meetings, they try to dominate over others, they talk too much, and so on. Then there are some people who think that by disrupting some establishment, they have achieved something. They oppose any work, and hundreds of thousands of such things happen in this world. And what is worse, they believe that they are contributing. They are doing great service to the society. A Jnani would say, you are just restless. Learn to sit quietly for some time. Learn to slow down out of mature consideration. Do not impose on others your unrest. First handle your own disturbed mind. So, Muda Drishti, unwise people take mere appearance to be karma, which is actually akarma. Akarma eva karmavat tesham avabhasate. And to such people, karma eva akarmavat. What is truly karma will seem to be akarma. Therefore, yathabhuta darshanartam aha bhagavan karmani akarma epashe. This shloka, I tell you, has tremendous significance. What is more, it refers to the daily stress that you and I go through. The daily stress. You want a shloka from Bhagavad Geetā for stress reduction? There are many, but this is an eminent verse. How? Examine. If you examine your own state of mind, you will see your stress is not because there is work to do. Your stress is not because of the work you have done so far. Oh, I had to work till 1 a.m. last night. I am so stressed, we say. Examine your state of mind. You might have worked till 1 a.m., but 90%, if not 100% of your stress is because of various forms of mental resistance, complaint, anger, and jealousy, and various negativities in your mind. When you work out of love, when you work out of true dedication to a higher cause, when above all you love the work you are doing, you actually will not be stressed. At the most, there is a certain physical stress. The body will demand some hours of sleep. Next morning, you may get up a bit early, a bit late, a bit slowly, and mentally, in fact, you will be congratulating yourself. Not only did I stay till 1 a.m., which itself is a joy, but it was so interesting. That work was so good. It was such a joy to do it. Oh, I wish to do more of such creative work, one would say. Therefore, it's not the work that stresses you, but the sense of, I am the doer. Why has this work come to me while all others are enjoying? Why should I work hard? Why is this coming to my table? And sometimes pride, sometimes a sense of shame. All are doing sophisticated work, very gross work, has come to me, this is not true to my position, etc. Egoistic reactions. Therefore, even if you have worked till 1 a.m., which is not a healthy habit, that's a different story, but on some occasion you had to work. Suppose in that work, if you, through spiritual wisdom, let go of your egoism and egoistic reactions, then that karma for you will become akarma. In karma, you will see akarma. Someone says, why did you work so hard? You smile. Who worked? The work took place. I never worked. I was enjoying. It was like a special holiday for me till 1 a.m. last night. I was as though I was moving on a boat on a serene lake. I was enjoying the pleasant weather. That was my state of mind. Outwardly, I was working. Therefore, stress is to be connected to psychological factors. That doesn't mean you can live in a haphazard manner, eat wrong food and sleep at odd times, etc. No. The importance of living a holistically balanced life goes, uncontradicted. That has its place. But that is not the whole story. On a plane beneath the surface, it is your psychological disturbances that cause stress to you. Sri Shankaracharya says, Tatra yatha bhuta darshanartam aha bhagavan karmanya karmaya pasye ityadi yatha bhuta darshanartam. To help us see what actually the truth is. And then, ataha na viruddham. There is no contradiction whatsoever here. Otherwise, why would Sri Krishna say, sa buddhiman? If you say there is contradiction, you are suspecting, you are mistrusting Sri Krishna's wisdom. Buddhimatvadi upapattescha. This is from that very verse, sa buddhiman. Buddhiman is someone who has great wisdom. Buddhimatva is that state of being. Upapatti, it falls in place. Buddhiman, by saying so, it falls in place that there is no contradiction. Further, in the previous verse, 17th, Bodhavyam iti cha yathabhuta darshanam uchyate. The verse previous to this apparently contradictory verse said, you must know karma. Bodhavyam is you should know. Karmano hepi bodhavyam, bodhavyam cha vikarmanaha, akarmanascha bodhavyam, gahana karmano gatihi. Had said Sri Krishna. Thus, nacha viparita jnanat ashubhat moksham syat. In the 16th verse, 2 verses before this, the expression used to us, this secret of karma is such, if you really see properly, you will be freed from ashubha, all that is inauspicious. Sorrow is inauspiciousness. Happiness is auspiciousness. And such a statement, such a compliment that this wisdom can free you from sorrow would not be possible if the wisdom is full of contradictions. It is wisdom that is clear. Therefore, viparita jnanat mokshanam katam syat, not possible. Tasmat karma akarmani, dvandva samasa, karmacha akarmacha, karma akarmani, viparyayena grahite pranibihi. Prani, most people, prani here is a reference to most people. Viparita, they see opposite. They see in wrong ways. Viparyayena grahite. It is the wise one who sees it properly. Viparyaya means improper. Tad viparyaya grahana nivrityartham. The whole Gita is meant to eliminate wrong vision, erroneous vision. viparita grahana or viparyaya grahana nivrityartham bhagavato vachanam karmani akarma ityadi. Before concluding this paragraph, Adi Shankara thinks from the angle of view of utterly immature people who might read a shloka like this and think, okay, so karma is a superset. In that there can be akarma. Like in a state where maximum people are educated, there could be a small number of uneducated people. Or in a bowl where there is water, there could be a couple of marbles. So marbles in a bowl, uneducated people in a country which is 90% educated, then there are actually two things, one in another. Or just take a bucket and there is some water in it. Is it that way? Is karma a bucket and akarma is water in it? Or is akarma a bucket and karma is water in it? Are there two objects? Sri Shankaracharya says, this is not that kind of Saptami Vibhakti scenario. In grammar, Saptami Vibhakti is, if you say Basavaha Grahe Tishtati, a man called Basava, he is in his house. So house is a larger space and Basava occupies some space there. So that's called Adhikarana. Nacha atra karma adhikaranam akarma asti kunde badarani iva. Kunde badarani. Kunda is a vessel. Badara is certain fruits. You take a handful of fruits and put it in a vessel. It's not like that karma adhikaranam akarma. Akarma inaction is in the base or the receptacle or the vessel called karma. Karma is the base and akarma is in it. Or the other way also is not to be taken here. Na api akarma adhikaranam karma. Akarma, let us say, is the bucket and karma is the water in it. Shankara gives the example, kunde badarani. A bowl and some fruits there. So, karma is not the bowl where akarma could be the fruits. Akarma is not the bowl where karma could be the fruits. Not that kind of physical entities. Karma abhavatvacha akarmanaha. Actually, the truth is, this akarma is simply absence of karma. That is, when indriyas are operating, the jnani sees. Jnani's eyes are on the pure self, which has no activity. Karma abhavat ataha viparita grihite eva karma akarmani laukikaihi yatha. And he brings his two favorite examples. What are they? This whole matter is erroneous vision versus right vision. Murgatrashnikayam udakam yatha. When you erroneously see there is water on the desert, in what we call mirage. In what you see erroneously as water, upon seeing rightly, you say it is only sand. Udakam muda drishtya drishyate jnana drishtya tatra mrigatrishnika eva. That illusion, there is an illusion, that's all. There is no water. Same way, muda drishtya rajatam drishyate. Ah, there is silver. I'm so lucky today. I'm going to get rich. I'll grab that silver. The foolish person says. But he goes and picks it up. It is a seashell worth nothing. A seashell that shines like silver. That seashell is called Shuktika. Shuktika iti jnana drishtihi, rajatam iti muda drishtihi. Therefore, in both these cases, at certain times, karma iti muda drishtihi, akarma iti jnana drishtihi. And some other places, akarma iti mooda drishtihi, karma iti jnana drishtihi. But now, the Purva Pakshi doesn't give up so easily. In the third out of the 9 paragraphs in Shankara's commentary, the Purva Pakshi hits back. Just don't tell me all this. Nanu. Nanu means it's just a particle implying objection. Pujya Chinmayananji used to say, Nanu means no, no, with some humor. Nanu is no, no, objecting. That's such a humor only. Nanu is just a particle expressing objection. So I object. Karma, karma eva, sarvesham na kvachid vibhicharat. Don't go to too much philosophy. I rather would take karma to be karma. Don't take karma to be akarma, akarma to be karma. This is all unnecessary. Na kvachid vyabhicharati. Vyabhichara here means changing its nature, going away from what it was supposed to be. Suppose you bring home a gold ornament and you have a good friend, your own relative or somebody like that, a jeweler. He comes and looks at and tests it. This is not gold at all. Who sold it to you? So you thought it was suvarna. Then it turned out that it was some base metal. That is vyabhichara. What was thought to be gold was not gold. What was seen to be a good man was not a good man. Lot of fraud, lot of deception these days takes place. That is all vyabhichara. But Purva Pakshi says, what appears as karma will be karma. There will be no vyabhichara. Don't argue otherwise. The rest of it in this paragraph 3 is the Siddhanti's defense. Tat na. Tanna. Tanna means tat na. Oh dear opponent, oh dear Purva Pakshi, what you say is not true. Let me tell you some laukika drishtanta. Rather than Indriya Buddhi being active and they being false, the truth of the matter is the Atma, which is inactive. Rather than that, this philosophical stuff, let me tell you, naustasya navi gachantyam tatasteshu agatishu nageshu pratikula gati darshanat. Somebody is sitting in a boat. Nauhu in Sanskrit means boat. Naustaha. Navi stitaha, navi tishtati iti naustaha. Somebody is sitting on the boat. The boat is moving on a river. And navi gachantyam, sati saptami prayoga. With the boat moving, navi gachantyam. While the boat is moving, naustaha, the man sitting on the boat, looks at the bank of the river, and to his eyes, all the trees seem to be moving in the opposite direction. If the boat is moving from A to B, the trees seem to be moving in the direction of B to A. So Shankaracharya says, tatasteshu agatishu. Gati means movement. Agati, no movement. The trees are not moving actually. So they are called agati. Agatishu, trees, or he talks about naga, little hills. Agatishu nageshu pratikula gati darshana. They seem to be moving. Years ago, I even remember 1986, I was in Bangalore and had a scooter, LML Vespa 150, NV something. And I was a bit new to Bangalore. I had not been a resident of Bangalore before, though I had visited. And I was going places. And somewhere I stopped because there was a red signal, and waiting for the red signal to go green, I just looked left, right, and then just looked up. I almost had a heart attack. I was just 29-year-old. So suddenly it seemed to me that there was a skyscraper, huge, tall building. Suddenly it seemed to me that that tall building was shaking and moving. I felt as though that tall building would fall upon all of us, some in car, some in scooter, some in motorbike, some in bicycle. 10 a.m. Bangalore city. For a moment, I got nervous, just for a moment. Then I said, what is this? Then I noticed clouds were moving behind that building. The optic illusion. Unless you see carefully, when the clouds move, relative movement, it seemed as though the multi-storied building was moving, and it caused a certain fear. So, whether it is the building seemingly moving, while actually it's the clouds that were moving, the boat is going, it seems the trees or little hills are moving in the opposite direction. And Shankara gives another example also where sometimes at a great distance, something is moving maybe towards us or away from us. And because of long distance, though it's moving, it seems as though not moving. Especially if it's not from this way to that way, but towards you or away from you. Then in your eyes, it looks like it's in the same position. Is it coming closer to us? Is it going far from us? Or is it stationary? It looks stationary, you imagine. That's the second example he gives. Dureshu, a distant object, Chakshusha asannikristeshu. Sannikrishta is near. Asannikrishta, not near, very far. Gachatsu, though certain objects are moving, Gati abhava darshana. They seem to be not moving. Laukika drishtanta, these are. And giving that, Adi Shankara justifies Sri Krishna's statement. There are times when what seems to be akarma can be karma. Evam ihapi akarmani karma darshanam karmani cha karma darshanam yena tan nirakaranaartham uchyate karmanya karma yapashyeti. In the last century, Albert Einstein very carefully studied relative motion, and he went very deep into it. Relative motion. You are sitting on a train, and that your train is stationary. Another train is moving very fast. Case 1. You are sitting on a train, and your train also is moving at the same speed in the same direction as train number 2. Then to you, that train looks stationary. And to them also, your train will look stationary. And sometimes, whenever you are on a plane and waiting for the plane to taxi and take off, you do this exercise generally. You look out through the window and things seem to be moving. Another plane is moving. Then you double check, you see through another window. Is that plane moving or is my plane moving? Because if my plane moves, relative motion makes that plane to appear as moving. So the only way to verify whether because there is no shaking, plane moves so slowly, carefully. So you see both sides, then you will be clear whether you are moving or the other plane is moving. So countless examples exist. Giving these examples, and I mentioned Einstein. Einstein took it to another level where he thought, is perception related to even speed of light? Light has a role to play because I don't see the train. What I see is the light reflected on the train entering my eyes. So if someone, that relative motion, suppose is taken to the level of our motion being at speeds closer to that of light, Today our motion is peanuts. The speed of our motion is negligible. Speed of light is some 186,000 miles per second or something huge. But if we are moving at a speed comparable with that of light, then light which brings the message is no more so reliable as before. Therefore, everything gets shaken. And that's what he found the great theory of relativity of time. Time itself is relative with extraordinary significance. He found that, you know, that relativity of space, relativity of time, and such things. So long back in the context, in a spiritual context, Adi Shankara gave this example. Now in the fourth paragraph, Sri Shankaracharya laments, how many times the scriptures try to set right the understanding of foolish people, and yet they do not understand. They make these two errors repeatedly. Where there is no worth, they get attracted as though something is very worthy. They run after pleasure, power, position. They run after becoming somebody. They run after physical things, while the truth that they should go after is the spiritual truth. They should go for something not material, above the material. But caught in materialism, people commit these two errors, seeing the worthless as worthy and seeing the worthy as worthless. Wrong judgment. Life goes for a six. Life is ruined when time and again we make wrong judgments. So this paragraph, Sri Shankaracharya says, Tadetat ukta prativachanam api asakrit. Sakrit means once, asakrit. Though told so many times, though replied to, though their doubts are answered, not once, many times. Atyanta viparita darshana bhavitataya, but they are overwhelmed by wrong vision, wrong thinking, erroneous perception has hijacked them. Momuhyamanaha. Muhyamanaha itself means deluded. Momuhyamanaha means deluded repeatedly, making the mistake again and again. Isn't it said? The formal old statement was to err is human, to forgive is divine. But a mischievous distortion of it is to err is human, to err again is more human. Rama Rama, to err again and again. No, if we are intelligent human beings, we realize our errors and stop committing the same error. But deluded as they are, momuhyamanaha, lokaha, loka means all people. Shrutam api asakrit, though they have heard many times. Tattvam vismritya vismritya. This is where he laments. He expresses his sorrow. People forget. Vismritya vismritya. They forget again and again. And mithya prasangam, avatarya avatarya. In Indian languages, you may use some expressions twice. And that means repeatedly. It's not just two. Ghar ghar mein Geeta doesn't mean do gharon mein. Not in two houses. Ghar ghar mein means in every house, in a number of houses. In a house after house, Geeta satsangs were held. That program was called Ghar Ghar Mein Geeta. So, avatarya, avatarya. These foolish people again and again bring a delusory, illusory, confusing situation and chodayati. Ask questions, get confused. Iti puna puna uttaram aha Bhagavan. Bhagavan Shankaracharya says here, Lord Krishna, Bhagavan Krishna, we call both Shankara as Bhagavan Bhashyakara, Sri Krishna as Bhagavan Sri Krishna. Sri Krishna here, Durvidneyatum Alakshya, considering that this topic is difficult, is not Suvidneya, not easy to understand. Durvidneyatvam Alakshya Aha. And after all, did he not say in the second chapter itself that this truth which should be known, knowing which your sorrow will come to an end? Did he not say avyaktoyam achintyoyam? This is avyakta, unmanifest, achintya, unthinkable. The depth of this subject was mentioned before. And did he not say in another verse, 2.20, Najayate mriyate? The truth has no birth, no death, and so on, where our eyes are normally on what is born, what dies. Our eyes are always on the surface. On the surface, a lot of things seem to be happening, but on a depth, if you go to a depth, nothing is happening. Najayati ityadina atmani karma abhavaha. So, no birth, no death, etc. are a pointer to the actionless nature of the Atma. Nothing happens in the Atma. Shruti smriti nyaya prasiddhaha uktaha vakshamanascha. Uktaha, it has been said before in second chapter, vakshamanascha, and will be said till the last chapter. Till the 18th chapter, this topic will come again and again. It is famous in the Vedas, Shruti. It is famous in the Smritis, in Gita itself being a Smriti. Nyaya, it is famous in Brahma Sutras. Shruti, Smriti, Nyaya are a reference to Prasthanatraya. Upanishads are the Shruti. Bhagavad Geetā is the Smriti. And Brahma Sutras, which are Nyaya Pradhana. Nyaya here means logic. Brahma Sutras very logically bring out various truths referring to some Veda mantras and then logically arguing, because it is said that way. The message has to be this way, logic. So Tarka Pradhanaha. Brahma Sutrani Tarka Pradhanani. Therefore, they are called Nyaya. Shruti Smriti Nyaya Prasiddha Uktaha. Tasmin Atmani Karma Abhave Akarmani Karma Viparita Darshanam Atyanta Nirudham. So, though the Atma is a karma, most common around the world, everybody superimposes karma. Nirudham means so common, rudi, extremely common. South and north, west and east, young and old, women and men, children and all. Nirudham, nitaram rudham. So, to see action while actually there is no action, therefore, we must meditate on our own true nature as not born, not dying, not subject to stress at all. Next time you are stressed, take a 2-minute break and say, I am the Atma and there cannot be any stress in me. The stress belongs to a ill-conceived thought. Stress belongs to a misconceived outlook. And let me anchor myself in the Atma and not get carried away by a wrong thought in my mind. Kama, Krodha also are wrong thoughts, but on a deeper level, I am so stressed, I am dying, I am tired. These are all thoughts. You must see if the body is tired, give the body rest. But do not suffer because of thoughts. a number of thoughts. It is said very humorously that in this world, many people are tired by work, but some are tired by the thought of work. By the thought of work. The thought that I have to do so many things makes them get exhausted. Isn't it a pity? You should work, and yes, work tires you, take a break. Refresh yourself. But don't be tired by unnecessary thoughts. That way, Moodaha, people who are foolish, akarmani karma darshanam kurvanti. Atyanta nirudam etat. Yataha kim karma kima karmeti kavayopyatya mohitaha. Shankara has a great sense of context. 2 verses ago, was it not said that even learned people are confused about what is karma and what is akarma? Dehadi ashrayam karma atmani adhyaropya. Work takes place on the level of the body, but they superimpose that on the level of the atma. Because they have no atmanishta. They have no anchoring in the pure self. It is like somebody has an account in Canara Bank, and he also has another account in State Bank. Imagine, I'm just giving an offhand, simple example. In the State Bank account, he has 12 lakhs of rupees. In the Canara Bank account, he had some 5,000 rupees. Now it became 2,000, it became 1,000, and he's worried. Oh, it has become so less. Suppose he forgets that he has 12 lakhs of rupees in State Bank account. He just can draw from there. He just can write a check or through ATM, whatever. If he forgets the 12 lakhs he has in State Bank account of his own, but all eyes on the dwindling balance in the Canara Bank account, isn't it foolish? Likewise, friends, if you and I are so identified with this I, me, and my, this personality, this body, this mind, our knowledge, our skills, or what people said about us. I came across an expression other day that is FOPO, F-O-P-O, FOPO. I said, what is this? A new abbreviation, FOPO. I looked into it. FOPO is fear of people's opinion. So, an author, Mrs. Ranjini Manian, has written a book for women empowerment. In that, she asks young women, do you suffer from FOPO? Fear of people's opinion. So, that is like looking at the account where balance is going down, forgetting another account where we have large amount of money. Do you suffer from body identification? Everybody does. And spirituality is to weaken body identification. Real spirituality is not about giving a lecture or writing books or talking big stuff in some group discussion. In your day-to-day life, take some time off and think of the true nature. Abide by that. I never lost anything. I don't have to win anything. Without winning, without avoiding loss, I already am ever full, complete, purnoham. That is Atma Nishta. Dehadi ashrayam karma atmani adhyaropya aham karta mama etat karma. I am the doer, this work is mine, and I will enjoy the result of this work. Maya asya karmanaha phalam bhoktavyam. And some other time, imagining he has renounced. Aham tushnim bhavam. I'll just sit quiet. I will not do anything. Let others work. I'll just sit quiet. I'm going to renounce. I am nirayasaha, akarma, sukhi syam. As long as there is spiritual ignorance, even if you sit quietly, you will not find peace. Vedanta says true peace comes only from Atma Jnana, not externally sitting quiet, nor externally running around too much. Running around a lot doesn't take you anywhere. Sitting quietly also doesn't take you anywhere. But when you have jnana, whether I am moving about or sitting quietly, I am the pure self. If you understand it, not just say those words, then you will be free. Shankara says, Karyakarana ashrayam vyapara uparamam tatpratancha sukitvam atmani adhyaropya na karomi kinchit. If you carry the quietude of the body over to the self, that's not the right approach. The pure self is free of action. You don't have to borrow naishkarmya. That is the right word in this context. Naishkarmya, that wisdom of being free from action. Don't borrow naishkarmya from a body sitting quietly. Naishkarmya is the nature of the pure self. You don't have to borrow from the body. That bodies which may sit for a while quietly, very soon will get agitated, will move to the kitchen to eat something, will go for a stroll. The body's quietude has limitations. The quietude, the actionlessness of the pure self is its nature, it never leaves. Abhimanyate lokaha. Tatra idam lokasya viparita darshana apanayanaya or apanayaya aha bhagavan karmaniya karma yapashyed iti. In this way, Shankara lays down his commentary, and there is yet another paragraph which we shall pick up in the next class, which is actually an upasamhara, summary of what he said so far. Pretty simple paragraph, though it has again several sentences. I will not attempt it now, but it's a summary. Whatever has been said has been once more put in a brief fashion. Then there are 4 more paragraphs where also nothing very complicated. The Purvapakshi raises some other interesting objection. He says, will you give me a chance to interpret the shloka? I would interpret akarma and karma in this way. Suppose there is some karma which doesn't give much results. From the fact that it doesn't give much result, we can call that karma a karma. And Shankara explains, or the Purvapakshi himself explains, says, suppose there is a cow and doesn't give any milk at all, then we may call that cow not a cow. This is a cow. You call this a cow? What cow? A cow that doesn't give milk doesn't deserve to be called cow. So a cow may become a not cow, and some other place, if something is delivering the goods, then that may become a cow. Something that delivers milk may be called cow, though it's not the animal cow. And the animal cow, which doesn't give milk, could be called a not cow, etc. So he tries to give, in the karma context, rituals context, a certain other interpretation. Shankaracharya, acting as the Siddhanti, dismisses it and shows some flaw in the Purvapakshi's interpretation of karma, karma phala, and pratyavaya karma. Some of those technical words come into the scenario. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.